This is our last show before our annual 2-week summer break, so we'll be back with you on Monday, July 15th, after some mornings of sleeping in and some nights spent in a tent in the woods. I have the best job in the world, but I do require some downtime every 6 months or so. I hope you all have a great 4th of July holiday. This episode of Marijuana Today Daily is brought to you by our friends over at ease.com, California's top one-stop website for legal marijuana delivery, as well as an option for the same for folks living in the Portland, Oregon area. And easewellness.com is there for hemp-derived CBD products delivered via the mail in 44 U.S. states. Good morning, Marijuana Nation. It's Friday, June 28th, 2019, and you're tuned in to episode 753 of Marijuana Today Daily. I'm your host, Jay Gunther, and I'll be walking you through today's marijuana news and headlines. As always, we have a full and busy day of cannabis news in our hands, so let's jump right into it. I'm happy to lead off with news out of my home state of Maine today, as Governor Janet Mills signed a bill into law yesterday setting up the adult use marijuana sales system passed through by voters back in 2016. We've been covering this storyline for as long as it's existed, with recent progress being made in implementing adult use as regulators and legislators got behind a plan that should see adult use dispensaries open up early next year. The bill will go into effect 60 days after the end of this year's legislative session, which wrapped up on June 20th. Pop over to the Portland Press Herald for more details here if you need them. Big congratulations to everyone in Maine and outside who helped make this happen. Swinging out to Oregon, we have a newly introduced bill in the U.S. Congress by Oregon Senators Ron Wyden and Earl Blumenauer that would allow for the interstate commerce of legal cannabis. You should remember that Oregon state lawmakers just passed through a bill that gives the state's governor the power to sign interstate cannabis commerce deals with other legal marijuana states. So if Senator Wyden and Blumenauer's bill were to pass, we'd see the nation's first legal state-to-state marijuana business. That's a huge if, of course, given that Republicans control the Senate and they haven't been very amenable to passing any legislation that isn't either racist and awful or an outright giveaway to the wealthy. So we'll have to keep an eye on this one. Even so, I think it's remarkable that the issue is even being raised so quickly after the passage of the Oregon state law. I need to call out our very own Adam Smith, a founding regular on our weekly podcast, Marijuana Today, for his contributions to making this one happen in his role as head of the Oregon Craft Cannabis Alliance. Adam is a co-author on the just signed state bill and was a driving force in whipping up enough support to see its passage. A good story to keep on the old radar given the enormous implications for the industry. This one is a matter of when, not if. Our final top story today is news of a just closed round of fundraising by multi-state cannabis operator Surterre Wellness, which pulled in $100 million in funding to support their current operations and to fund future growth. The company closed on a round of funding just back in November for nearly $55 million. Surterra is one of Florida's vertically integrated dispensers with 26 shops there, as well as dispensaries in Massachusetts, Texas, and Nevada. Pop over to Marijuana Business Daily for more on this big round. Those are our top stories for today. It's time for Marijuana Today Daily Headlines Blitz. Before we blitz out on headlines, we need to thank our sponsor, ease.com, California's top one-stop website for legal marijuana delivery, as well as an option for the same for folks living in the Portland, Oregon area. Pop over to ease.com to check out all the different legal cannabis products up for order there, with deliveries taking place in less than 60 minutes during legal delivery hours. You'll find all kinds of properly tested, packaged, and labeled legal cannabis products over at ease.com, spelled E-A-Z-E. There's flower from Old Pal, Humboldt Farms, Classics, and Kaliva, concentrates from Guild Extracts, Loud Pack, and Moxie, bath and body care from Mary's Medicinals and Apothecana, and vape cartridges from Bagged Vape Company, State, and Bloom Farms, plus a whole pile of other modalities like edibles, topicals, sprays, and even pet products. Take a minute today and dive into the large selection found over at ease.com. All right, time for the blitz. Yesterday in California, state lawmakers passed a bill in the Senate that will extend by 3 years provisional and temporary marijuana business licenses set to expire this year. We've tracked this storyline as the state's medical marijuana industry faced a steep drop off in the number of licensed businesses as license renewal applications weren't processed by the state quickly enough. Assembly Bill 97 gives those license holders reprieve until 2022. New Jersey Senator Cory Booker filed a proposed bill in the U.S. Congress yesterday that gives protections to immigrants from being deported for marijuana crimes. Tom Angel over at Forbes picked up on this one and is reporting that a Human Rights Watch report estimates that more than 34,000 people were deported in the United States between 2007 and 2012 for marijuana crimes. Booker's proposed bill, called the Remove Marijuana from Deportable Offenses Act, would remove marijuana charges from the list of those that could trigger a person's deportation. This bill has zero chances of passing out of the Senate or even being taken up for consideration, again, because the Republicans control the Senate and they're a bunch of horrible racists. Even so, it's good to see this being proposed. Senator Booker grabs another headline on today's stories as he told Business Insider that he wished the debate he recently participated in with 9 other Democratic presidential candidates featured some discussion about marijuana legalization. As I reported on yesterday, the war on drugs and related themes were brought up during Wednesday night's debate, but not marijuana specifically. Senator Booker told Business Insider, quote, "I would like to see the federal government end its making marijuana illegal and pull back and let the states do what they want. But I am also one of those people that thinks you cannot talk about marijuana legalization if, in the same sentence, you're not talking about expunging the records of those Americans who have criminal convictions for doing things that 2 of the last 3 presidents admit to doing." Unquote. MultiState cannabis operator Curaleaf, in full disclosure, a sponsor of ours here at MJ Today Media, just spent $25.5 million to acquire 2 medical marijuana dispensaries in Arizona. The 2 dispensaries were picked up in separate deals from Glendale Greenhouse and Phytotherapeutical Management Services. Once closed, that will give Curaleaf a total of 47 U.S. dispensaries located in 12 states. CTV News has an interesting story up about how the consumption of marijuana can affect the rates that you pay for life insurance in Canada. It used to be that most insurance carriers treated marijuana consumers the same as cigarette smokers, even though one of those things will kill you while the other just makes you appreciate music more. Thankfully, the industry's understanding of marijuana is evolving, and many no longer automatically lump cannabis together with tobacco, but as CTV News has it, you still might end up paying a premium if you use cannabis over a set number of times, even in edible form. Not a bad one to read in full. As California's legal marijuana industry continues to evolve, John Schroyer over at Marijuana Business Daily is reporting that cannabis retailers are starting to impose slotting fees on manufacturers, charging them money for the rights to place their goods in the most prominent spots in their shops. This is a reality in many retail industries, most notably in grocery stores, where higher paying brands land on the eye-level shelves, while others are slotted on the floor and higher up. It's not exactly clear how legal slotting fees are in California's legal marijuana industry, as state cannabis law prevents so-called unfair business practices. If you do business in California, this is probably one you should have a good handle on. Swing on over. Our final story today, before launching ever so gleefully into our 2-week summer break, is news that retailer Abercrombie Fitch will start to sell CBD products at 160 of its 1,000 or so total stores. The CBD rollout is part of a deal with marijuana company Green Growth Brands, which regular listeners will remember for a recent storyline involving another deal that will put Green Growth brand CBD products in malls across the country. Deb Borchardt over Green Market Report has all the details here. Those are the headlines and news for the day. I'll be back with you again on Monday, July 15th, with another information-packed episode of Marijuana Today Daily. But in the meantime, if you have any stories to share or feedback to give, zip us an email to headlines@mjtodaydaily.com. And while you're clicking around the interwebs, swing over to our website at mjtodaydaily.com to find links to all the news we cover. Thanks to our sponsor, Ease, and to our awesome patron listeners for the support that makes this show possible. To join the illustrious ranks of the patron listeners yourself, swing over to our website at mjtodaydaily.com and click on that big blue button at the top of the page that says Become a Patron. I'm your host, Jay Gunther. Thanks for tuning in and starting your day with marijuana today. Today.
One take, Shay. One take.